What up, nerds, and welcome to another radio silent episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 474, recorded Sunday, April 28th, 2024. Tonight we're talking about the latest from the creative team known as Radio Silence. The movie is Abigail. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randeezy. What's up, man?
What's going on, children?
How we doing? I know you just tried out a prosthetic tooth that we got at the Abigail screening at Overlook, and so did I. Mm-hmm. And man, these things taste like doo-doo holes. This is still tasting. This is like Malort stuck in my mouth.
It lingers almost as long as Malort does on the tongue. They look really great. I think they did a really good job, actually, but they taste like
they're incredible. I just have that much more respect for the fine art of acting with giant prosthetic teeth in your mouth.
Yeah, I'll be selling these on eBay. They have been in my mouth, so that'll be $1,000. Okay, check that out.
Right, yeah, that's the going rate on OnlyFans. It should transfer.
Last but not least, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy Pinky Promise Stains. And speaking of Pinky Promises, boys, I got a chance to meet the crew from Radio Silence last summer at BFun, if you were following our coverage. And they Pinky promised me that they would put an Easter egg in their next film for me. So did you guys notice my Easter egg where I was in this film?
No.
Why don't you finish the bit and then we'll know?
I was Joey's son, you know? Justin.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to Radio Silence over there for putting me in their film. I really appreciate that. Straight chilling.
Good for them for age appropriate casting too, right? You know?
Yeah, exactly. I know. Fits the age perfectly.
His name is Stains.
Who honors the pinky swear of a degenerate?
I mean, we gotta keep it reasonable, Bob. There's only so much we can do.
So reasonable. Well, Randy and I got to meet them at the Overlook Film Festival for the world premiere of Abigail, and they...
Oh, you did? Yeah.
They told us that we get to party with them.
Well, yeah. All right. Well, I hope they keep that promise. Like
they told us they do it all for us, and they were very upset with our Scream 6 review.
We apologized. No, we didn't. That didn't. No, it didn't. But yeah, we're talking about Abigail. This is a new flick. Before we get into the review, let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping real quick here. Here is your final reminder. Actually, I think this drops on the 1st of May, so it doesn't matter. The May poll is probably closed at the time of you listening to this, and we'll have a June poll. Which is going to be Randy's takeover month. Randy, I'm not sure if you've actually landed on what it's going to be yet. Have you?
I'm like right on the edge of figuring out what the movies are going to be, but yeah, I think I don't want to announce it just yet in case I come up short on my last option.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so this at the time of you listening to this, there will be a brand new poll over on Patreon. Check it out. It's Randy's Takeover Month. Cast your vote. At the time of us recording this, it still looks like Memories of Murder is going to take it for Justin's Takeover Month here. The Korean creature Comforts. So we'll probably be talking about Memories of Murder pretty soon here. Get your votes in. Vote now. In other Patreon news, we're dropping mini casts every other Friday. We just dropped one this past Friday, the 26th. Randeezy is talking about Immaculate, that new Sydney Sweeney nun movie, which surprisingly did not suck.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get it out there. I'm excited that I don't know. It feels like forever after you record these that they end up in the rotation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's every
it's
other...
not like our instant gratification regular episodes where we just record and it's just out there.
And then you immediately get to listen to it right afterwards, right, Randy?
Yeah, that's the real treat that I always indulge in.
Randy loves hearing his own voice. We all know that.
Love it. It's my favorite. It's totally my favorite.
We know Randy, okay?
Yes, that's what a boy likes.
So Immaculate's out now. Next up on the 10th of May, we'll be dropping a Q&A that we recorded at the Overlook Film Festival that took place after the 10th anniversary screening of Oculus. And your boy Mike Flanagan was on stage, answered a bunch of questions that were mostly fielded to him by Phil Noble Jr. From Fangoria. It was a really solid Q&A. And then he took some questions from the audience as well. His lovely wife was also with him, and she asked some questions too. You get to hear that in the Q&A as well. So check that out. Dropping over on
Why don't
Patreon.
you ever do the dishes?
Almost. Kind of close.
Yeah, she definitely...
It was a domestic squabble.
Yes, there was. We'll leave it at that. And
Yeah.
check it out over on Patreon. It's pretty fun. It was a really solid Q&A, actually.
Why did you
fun.
fuck my sister?
God,
What the
damn.
fuck? Jesus Christ.
Keeping it in the family, Flanagan style. That's pretty much all we got for Patreon, though. Do you guys have anything that you would like to plug?
Nothing to speak of, no.
Clean this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have anything else? I guess the only other thing I'd like to mention is, like, we did throw out a bonus episode last Friday on the main feed. We wanted to kind of celebrate halfway to Halloween / Walpurgisnacht, and we wanted to find a movie that we thought would be well suited for that. We landed on The Autopsy of Jane Doe, so you can check that out in our main feed if you haven't already. And also the back half of that episode, we talk about just the history of Walpurgisnacht and Beltane. So check that out. And also, we did a Joe Bob live watch party Friday the 26th as well, and he also thought The Autopsy of Jane Doe would make a perfect Walpurgisnacht movie. So he showed that. That worked out well, I guess.
Bob, you're just morphing into that man, maybe.
Yeah,
You're the one who suggested it.
Your facial hair is slowly eking away, as we know, and eventually you're going to end up in those bolo ties.
Everyone check out the behind the scenes to get a look at Bob's new beard.
Bob looks like a jobber at a low-rate wrestling match. That's what I'm going to say.
I feel like I just drive semis now. That's just what I do.
You become certified the minute you shave your beard in that formation.
Yeah.
I already got a CDL. Now I just got the facial hair to match it. So
whoa, there you go.
It's all coming together. The way nature
everyone
plans.
write in if you want to see Bob go full clean. You know, if we get enough votes, we'll pressure Bob to shave his entire beard.
It'll be like Locks of Love or St. Baldrick's, except all the money goes to Justin and I specifically.
Not gonna
donate
happen.
now to have Bob shave his beard.
Not gonna happen. I'm rocking the Lemmy Kilmister. If you're not watching us on YouTube, the behind the scenes stuff, that's what I got going on facially. So, but yeah, big thanks to everybody.
One of the things you got going on facially.
God.
Man,
well, goddamn,
not a lot of action there usually. It's good to see some movement.
Facial movement. Thanks to everybody that hung out with us on Friday for the Joe Bob watch party, and check out our bonus episode if you haven't already. And that's it. I think our house is clean.
I think so.
This house is clean.
Let's get into the main event. We're talking Abigail, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, have you pre-ordered this box?
No, I have not yet. I'm pretty sure you can, though. So do that if you want to.
Damn, already, really?
Yeah, they roll it out pretty fast. Yeah,
I know. It's just like I know I don't keep as the close tabs you do on the physical media. It just seems like it used to be like 3 or 4 months before a DVD would drop. I guess it's not as big of a money draw anymore, so they don't.
What's the average time from a movie coming out in the theaters, Bob, to you being able to get your hands on a blue? What's that time frame looking like these days?
How long are you jonesing for?
2 months?
It varies. Yeah, I would say probably the quickest would be maybe like 2 months, maybe 2 to 6 months.
Okay.
Sometimes they just don't ever put one out. It kind of depends. Which is
monsters,
criminal,
fucking bullshit.
I still want Fresh on Blu-ray. Like that has no physical release. That's a
Had they not
solid one.
Really?
That's a shame, man. That's a real shame.
Because it's owned by Hulu, so I guess they have less incentive. But I mean, they would still make money on it. Like people would buy it. But I don't know. Maybe it's just not enough. I don't know. Anyway, you can pre-order Abigail if you want it on Blu-ray. This is a brand new movie. Just came out a couple weeks ago. Rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes. Written and directed by Matt Bettinelli Open, Tyler Gillette, Stephen Shields, Guy Busick. And it stars Melissa Barrera, Dan Stevens, Alicia Weir, William Catlett, Catherine Newton, Angus Cloud, Kevin Durant, Giancarlo Esposito, Matthew Good. Good? Maybe good. Probably good. Hell of a cast here. Gentlemangs, we've seen it, obviously. First time watch because it's a new movie. Would you recommend folks check out Abigail? Randy, kick us off.
Yeah, I would. I think that Radio Silence, for my money, is always doing their best work when they're churning out new properties and making cool new shit. If you're a Ready or Not fan, this is right down that same alleyway, I would say, but obviously a little bit of a different premise. But like the setting of an opulent mansion, the murder, the chaos, the quick dialogue, all that shit, it's all there. I do recommend it, especially if you like that sort of thing. So it's fairly light for a horror flick, but very enjoyable. Recommend.
Right on. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think this is a pretty fun, a little bit action kind of oriented horror film. But yeah, it's a light watch. It's pretty easy to get through. It's got some fun aspects to it, cool settings, and some twists and turns. And yeah, it's generally just kind of like a fun, light horror watch. So yeah, I would recommend people check it out. Bob, how about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way. This is first and foremost just a really fun popcorn flick. It's not really scary. It's not, for the most part, not really doing anything too new. But if you just want to have like a good time at the theater, I would definitely recommend checking this one out. I think it delivers on what it promises. So pretty well a recommendation across the board, I think, from the Straight Chilling crew, sounds like.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
I agree with your assessment of
I
our
agree
agreement.
with myself, yes.
Thank you. Agree to agree, gentlemen's. We are going to spoil the shit out of Abigail, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, I know you were writing this plot synopsis in the theater with your little pad and pen and little flashlight. So why don't you go ahead and share that with us? Yeah.
I bring in with me. It doesn't bother anybody, you know. Yeah, I got.
Oh, that's Bob. He's from Straight Chilling. I think he's just writing his plot.
He's got important work to do.
He looks insane with his beard. Just don't bother him. He might freak out.
I didn't recognize him. Oh, you're right. It is Bob.
That's yeah. I got the plot synopsis for you right here. Let's blast through it real quick. So we got 6 criminals kidnap a 12-year-old ballerina dancer named Abigail. They take her to a remote mansion in upstate New York. The group, led by informant Lambert, has instructed them to use aliases based on the Rat Pack. There's the former drug addict Joey, former NYPD detective Frank, wealthy hacker Sammy, the wheelman Dean, Marine sniper Rickles, and Canadian mob enforcer Peter. They're told to hold Abigail for 24 hours, and they'll each receive $7 million. Joey's the only person to talk with Abigail, so she only hears one voice. Joey promises to keep her safe as they bond. Abigail finds out Joey has a son herself. Abigail ominously apologizes for what's about to happen. Dean wanders into the basement and is attacked by an unseen assailant. Sammy hears his screams and finds his headless corpse in a chair. Frank confronts Abigail and demands to know who her father is. She says he's a feared crime lord named Christophe Lazar. Rickles then tries to leave the house, but the security system is tripped and all exits are blocked off. Joey and Rickles form a pact as they're both retired military and begin to clear the house. Rickles is immediately killed by the assailant. Frank tells Peter to kill the girl before he can. She turns into a vampire and everybody else flees. The group hatch a plan to kill Abigail. They find her dancing with Dean's corpse and use garlic, wooden stakes, and crucifixes against her, but they do nothing. Joey suggests they use the tranquilizer Lambert gave them for the kidnapping earlier. It worked then, and it worked again. So they lock her up in an elevator shaft, but not before she bites Sammy. When Abigail wakes up, she reveals she knows all their identities. Lambert set them up to be slaughtered by her because they've all wronged Christophe Lazar in some way. Joey concludes she's been killing her father's enemies for decades to try and win his love. Frank watches over Abigail as the rest explore the house. She very easily breaks out of the cage, and before she can kill Frank, Joey busts a hole in the wall, letting sunlight in, causing her arm to explode. The group splits up to find some sort of power source to reset the security system of the house. Sammy turns into a vampire under Abigail's control and kills Peter. Sammy then attacks Frank and Joey, but Joey uses a silver serving tray to reflect sunlight on Sammy, causing her to explode. Joey and Frank find the mansion control room, and Lambert is operating it. He's a vampire and offers to turn Frank into one as well, so they can kill Abigail and her father and take over the whole goddamn thing. Frank allows Lambert to turn him, and then immediately stakes him through the heart, causing him to explode. Frank then drinks Abigail's blood. He gets a little bit stronger. Frank whoops Joey's ass and tells her she will be his puppet. A weakened Abigail asks Joey to help her defeat Frank in exchange for her life. Frank tries to mind control Joey, but it doesn't work, and she stakes him, and he explodes. Abigail's father, Lazar, shows up, and Abigail saves Joey from him. He allows her to leave for saving Abigail. Upon driving off the property, Joey finds a sucker in the van and eats it on the way to be with her kid. Roll them credits.
Tell him it's open season on all suckheads.
Classic line.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think the first thing I want to say about this movie is we've all seen the trailer a million times before we saw the movie, I'm sure. They advertised so well. Oh, you did?
I didn't see it at all.
I don't watch trailers typically.
I don't,
unless I'm really interested.
Well, fuck me. I did. I saw the trailer a lot.
Whoa.
And okay, question.
Go ahead and bitch about it.
Did you
Bob.
know there were vampires in this movie before you watched the movie?
I honestly didn't really know anything about it.
Okay.
I definitely did, and I did see the trailer, but it was like in a movie theater, and I saw it the once, so I didn't watch it repeatedly. To your point, but yes, I did see it.
Well, that's my big beef. Because watching this movie, it feels like the movie wants you to be surprised when vampires start happening. Vampire things start happening. Because it's like, I don't know, 40 minutes in or something, and then finally she turns and starts going ape shit.
And it's a whole thing. I mean, even the ominous, I'm sorry, what's going to happen to you, and the discussion about the father's killer who snuck into a room and I killed all these guys.
Yeah, but the whole time, you know.
Definitely seems that way.
That she's just a vampire.
I'm a vampire! Yeah. That's why you
that
go
trailer,
in blind, boys.
Yeah.
I did rewatch the trailer before this episode, just scrounging for bumps and stuff. And like the thing that surprised me is that the pit of bodies is in that, and it's just
God.
That's such a cool reveal. Like I didn't remember that, and thank God I didn't, because I was like, when that hit, it hit hard and like nice. I was like, oh fuck, this is nuts.
That's hard.
But
and
I wouldn't
nice.
have hit that way.
Yeah,
that's hard and nice, and I like it. It's good. No, I don't know. Like it just. This is just another trailer in a long lineage of movie trailers that just give away the whole farm. And I understand that they can't do anything as teasery as like established properties can do. They can't just show a fucking Captain Marvel symbol and then call it a day. Like they have to like give you an idea of what the movie is. But there's a line, man. There really is. And
I think there's
too much crossing of that line.
I think it's very possible to cut a trailer with no vampire stuff in it. And I think it maybe could have served the movie. Because it did pretty well at the box office opening weekend. I think it did like 10 million, and right now it's at like almost 29 million. And this is, I think it was like a 30 or 40 million dollar budget. And it seems like folks just aren't super drawn to vampire stuff recently, because we had the Last Voyage of the Demeter, which is about the same budget, and it didn't do super well. And then like last year also. The Nick Cage joint that came out also didn't do super. Renfield.
Oh, Renfield. Yeah.
And then this one is kind of in the same vein, and they're all very different, but they're all like vampire based. And I don't know, maybe it would have served the movie, maybe not.
Well, here's the thing about trying to cut the trailer, though. Okay, if you cut it as there's these people, and really, you'd have to sell it on these people took this girl, and now the whole discussion about the killer and who the father is. So you kind of have to give that away a little bit. And the anticipation that they're being hunted within a house. Like, okay. But that gives a very different, like that attracts a very different audience that isn't necessarily interested in seeing a horror film. That's more thrillery. I don't know,
Fair.
maybe even action-y based. And even if you show any of the kills, one that would spoil some of the kills, like you could show the guy's head falling off without showing any vampire aspects. But other than that, it's hard to really sell this movie as a horror film to attract horror fans without giving that aspect away, I think. Like, what would you advertise?
I think you would advertise exactly what you said, oh, we kidnapped this guy, and then it's like, well, who's his father? Who cares? And then somebody's like, whatever, Dan Stevens figures this out, and he's like, oh shit, and he starts immediately running away. That's your like first half, and then you cut to things like, Lisa Frankenstein, I forget the actress's name, like just standing stark still across the way, like down in that whatever greenhouse where they have that fight. Do like little vignette moments like that, blood on the walls, and then just Melissa Barrera like covered in blood with a pool cue in her hand, and then the overdub of the little girl saying, "I'm sorry for what's going to happen to you." You get the idea that maybe it's the little girl attacking, but you don't know what she is. Like,
yeah, I think it's possible, and I also think if you've seen Ready or Not, I mean, not everybody has, and not everybody's going to connect that movie to this as having the same directors. But if you have seen that, you kind of know what you're getting into. And also, maybe that's why they wanted to really emphasize the vampire stuff, because without that, it might feel too similar to Ready or Not, because they're stuck in a mansion, run around, people exploding.
That's one of my biggest beefs with this film is sometimes it feels like a lot of copy and paste from Ready or Not.
I think that's fair.
Which is 5 years ago. Yeah. One of the biggest aspects, which it's honest, the exploding, which is in a vacuum, just taking this film on its own. I like it, of course. But as soon as I saw it, after running around this kind of big spooky mansion and people get picked off one by one, the exploding thing, I was like, all right, guys, come on. We need like a little fresh. Yeah. I mean, it feels like they're just recycling ideas.
Dude, I don't know.
Okay, so here's my perspective. Yeah, they're coming off 2 remakes, essentially, of the Scream franchise. One, which was kind of a bust. And then you got this movie, which just feels like a lot of recycled ideas from Ready or Not. I mean, it just feels kind of like a weak streak for them.
I don't really agree with that. Bob, you had something to say, though. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I see that criticism and mostly agree with it. But I still think that this movie has enough that differentiates it from Ready or Not. It has the benefit, the massive benefit of the really fantastic ensemble cast, whereas Ready or Not, you're a little more isolated, following Samara Weaving around as she navigated the situation.
That had a pretty good cast though too. I mean, good interactions with the family.
All the casts have been good. Yeah, I mean, I like their interplay of all of their characters when they have a big wide cast.
Yeah,
like
me
this.
too. That is a positive. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of similarities, and I could see someone not digging on that. But the exploding bodies specifically, I'm down for it. The more, the better. If they paint the walls red, that's totally fine with me.
If they had another film come out in another 3 years, and there was like several scenes with bodies exploding, would it start to feel tired to you?
Probably, yeah.
No,
okay.
I don't know, man. Like, to me, I'm thinking about last week. We reviewed Drag Me to Hell, and damned if Sam Raimi doesn't insert a deadite into just about every fucking movie he directs. I don't really mind. Like, to me, it's like an exploding death is like, first of all, very fun to watch. I'm happy with it. They did it. I think this time around, it didn't have the exact same impact because it wasn't right at the end of the movie, but it I don't know. You're always wondering with a vampire movie how these things are going to affect them. You saw the bullet didn't work. You saw all these things that didn't work. And then all of a sudden this fucking worked in such a big way that there's no body fucking left. I think that's kind of fun. And I don't mind like a horror director having a calling card like that. To me, like you slip that in there as almost like a Cornetto reference, There's no body fucking left, says Randy. There's no body fucking left. And then also, like, as far as like their similarities, they does have similarities to Ready or Not because it is a hunt, but it's an all against its protagonist and team versus a high-powered villain as opposed to a single person against a horde of family. It's really the setting that is the most similar, and like really ties it closely together.
Agree with that. You have the setting, which is very similar. It's old, spooky, gothic style house. Okay, so hang on. So there's the setting.
Yeah.
As we just said, honestly, it's kind of the same as Ready or Not, what you just described, but a flipped perspective, because you have this ensemble who's specifically hunting one thing, and in Ready or Not, to kind of go against what Bob was saying, like, we do get a lot of interplay with the family as an ensemble cast in Ready or Not. Yes, we are following the perspective of the hunted, so that is the big switch, but you do get enough interactions to know what a wacky group of family they are in Ready or Not. So it's really just a perspective flip, but it's essentially the same premise. A bunch of people are hunting one thing in a gothic house. Yeah. So I would say that's very similar. Several of the kills are very similar. You have the idea of like the pool cues. I think they do that same exact thing in Ready or Not, with like the using the pool cues as weapons, or because they have like a game room or whatever. So you have like that aspect of it. You also kind of have this like big bad head of a family, which in this case is like a vampire lord, and the other one, it's the devil. I have
some trivia on that a little bit. So these two movies are potentially so closely related in DNA because they exist in the same universe, apparently. So there's a portrait included in this movie, in one of the background scenes, of Henry Czerny's character from Ready or Not, who is the patriarch of the Le Damas family from that movie, and apparently it would be like a great grandfather of the Le Damas family. So they're like, if Abigail like owns this house, or I don't know if they just turned it. I don't know, but potentially the families are related in some sort of way, and the two movies exist in the same universe. So I don't know. Who knows if maybe they'll try and tie them together. I don't need any of it either, but it is like maybe it might help explain why the movies are so similar in tone and the exploding bodies.
This is the thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't really like. That's fine, and if that's the case, I understand the logic of it or whatever. I don't see an entire perspective shift as a minimal change. I think that if this was set in a dilapidated warehouse, it would not seem that similar to Ready or Not. Like, I feel like that carries so much of the visual connection that you don't really forget that these are the same people. I think that if you put it in a totally different like visual set aesthetic, that it's a huge perspective change. This isn't, like I said, I agree that it is sort of a swap, but a swap is not a small change. Like we just watched In a Violent Nature at Overlook Film Festival, which is a point of view swap of a slasher movie with basically like a Jason Voorhees like creature. You're following him, and like that's a significant change to me. Like, it's the same story told through a different perspective. That's more similar to, a slasher movie like Friday the 13th than this is to Ready or Not, because this is multiple people battling and trying to understand a supernatural creature they've never encountered, didn't believe was true, didn't believe was actual, and dealing with that versus one person dealing with a family that may or may not be supernatural, but is trying to kill one person, and it's a what do you call that? Most dangerous game sort of thing. That's a totally different story to me.
I do think something else that separates this movie from Ready or Not, and we should probably just get off the Ready or Not thing, but is this this movie has kind of a like heist / mob kind of bookend situation happening. The meat of the movie is really not much about that, but they kidnapped the little girl at the beginning of the movie, which I don't know how much of that's really necessary to show to the main plot of the movie. And then it turns out
I liked it. I like those sequences.
Yeah. And then it turns out her dad is sort of this vampire mafioso type character who like rules the underworld, and which sounds interesting and stuff too. But I like that they include that sort of thing. I kind of wish that they would have got maybe a little bit more into it. But I think that's just another thing that like separates this from that. And I do think the ensemble in this movie is way better. Maybe it's just for my personal taste, but Kevin Durant, I fucking love Kevin Durant, and for some reason he only seems to do television work. I don't really know if that's a choice or if he just can't break into movies or whatever. Did you guys ever watch that movie or that show from like 2012 or something that was produced by Del Toro for FX called The Strain. It's like a vampire television show.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He was in
I watched like an episode, yeah.
He was like a main recurring character in that. It's the first thing I saw him in. I loved him in that. I was really stoked to see him here. He's probably my favorite character. I thought he was hilarious. Definitely like the comedic relief.
No, that's not the first thing you saw him in. He was in Lost. That's what I always remember
Was he in
him
Lost?
from. He's Keamy. Keamy in Lost.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
that's right. I was trying to look it up, but yes,
That's what
Keamy.
I
He was
really
such
like
a
him
piece of
too.
shit in that show.
Yeah.
It was really fun to watch, though.
He plays a good villain-esque character. Yeah. I always associate him with Keamy because like Keamy didn't like last that long in Lost, if I remember right, but he was always very memorable to me. So anytime I see this actor, it always catches my attention because I do think he's good, and I think he probably deserves like more roles. I always enjoy him in whatever he's in.
Me too.
I think this is a good showcase for him because he gets to like flex some comedic muscle here, and I don't know that he's getting a lot of that or not, but he's kind of like the standout from the pool of extra characters around Melissa Barrera and Dan Stevens and Abigail, basically.
Yeah,
and I like he kind of stands out for me like above everybody else for sure. Like I don't know. He's enjoyable to watch. It's good to see him like show some range because I similarly always think of him as Keamy, which makes me think, okay, if I ever need like a big imposing piece of shit that can totally talk shit to whoever you're trying to intimidate, this is your guy. But he can do a lot of things, you know?
he's very funny in this. I thought he had me laughing.
He is, yeah.
Another guy. So this actor I was totally unfamiliar with. And before we saw the movie premiere, they sort of dedicated this movie to him. Angus Cloud, who's the wheelman in this. I guess he sort of broke on Euphoria, which is a Max show I've never seen. But he was, I guess, discovered by some sort of talent agent. He was studying acting, was trying to be an actor, and he was working, waiting in some restaurant or something. And somebody came in and like hired him to work on Euphoria, I guess, and he sort of broke for that. But he passed away before this movie came out, which is sad because he's so young. But I thought he did a great job in this. I really liked his character.
Me too, man.
I'm sad that he's no longer with us.
I had to warm up to him a little bit, but yeah, he passed, and like he's so young for that, man. I don't know. It added a little weight to his performance somehow, but like I don't know, like just like throughout the course of the movie, he goes from this character. I'm like, I don't identify with this character. He's just kind of like seems like a piece of like a lazy piece of shit who talks a big game, might be just tweaked out, whatever. But he slowly like becomes funnier and funnier, and more it becomes, oh, this is an intentional like comedic performance right now. I thought he did pretty great, and the fact that he passed just kind of like it just sucks. I guess I don't know how else to put it.
So I didn't know any of that. I didn't know, I'd never seen this guy before. I'd never heard of him. But as the movie was playing out, this is so weird. Oh my! So as the movie was playing out, he's the wheelman. His interactions, like what he's doing, he gave me even his look very similar. He was giving me this Mac Miller vibe. I was like, oh man, this dude's really reminding me of Mac Miller. And they both died of a accidental drug overdose around the same age, like very close. This Angus Cloud died at 25, Mac Miller at 26. That's so weird to me because like the whole time I was like, man, this dude's giving me like strong Mac Miller vibes. I was like, I wonder if that's like what he's going for, if that's what just this guy is. But they got the same like shaved kind of head, and like that's weird. That's super weird to me.
I don't know much about Mac Miller myself, but it seems like an unfortunately very common story. So rest in peace, Angus.
Yeah. He did a great job.
His performance was good. Yeah.
I liked him a lot. Also, Dan Stevens, I think with his Queen's accent, I think he dials that in pretty well, especially being like a Brit, and plays a piece of shit pretty well in this. I always like Dan Stevens, though. I kind of,
me too.
Whatever he's in. I
feel like Dan Stevens, like by all rights, should be a Marvel celebrity at this point, but he just keeps doing these movies that are more niche and genre and gives him like weird accents to do, and I respect the fuck out of all of that. Cuckoo is coming out soon, and he's in that with this so
crazy German accent. He's got all these accents dialed in pretty well.
He's very talented.
Catherine Newton, like you mentioned, Lisa Frankenstein. She's everywhere now. She keeps popping up and stuff. She does a really good job. She's very like magnetic.
Yeah, she does have a kind of magnetic personality. She's got this kind of unhinged under like the skin type of feel. Like she's not outwardly unhinged, but you feel like she's like a time bomb or something.
Hell yeah.
And
Damn,
brother.
I just realized she was in a show that I really liked called Big Little Lies a few years back.
Hell yeah.
And I'm just trying to place what character she was, but yeah.
Melissa Barrera, I don't love her performance in Scream. Maybe she doesn't have enough to do. I don't know. But I thought this was my favorite performance of hers so far. I thought she did pretty well.
I agree.
I always
First
feel
of all,
like she's
great.
pretty like solid medium.
Yeah.
You know, like she's never given a bad performance, but I never feel pulled to what she's doing.
I think I felt more of that this movie than anything else, than any other movie I've seen her in, which isn't a whole lot. You know, I haven't seen her in a ton of things. Certainly not in a leading capacity. Like this is, she you know, you get what you get a little bit. But I don't know. I thought she did really like impressively, and like as a complete aside, like she's never looked better. Like I was like, holy shit, Melissa's looking great in this movie.
Randy.
So good for her on a number of counts.
Keep it in your pants, brother.
You know. If I wanted it out of my pants, it would be out of my pants. You can trust me on that one.
Randy's not even wearing pants.
I abstain for
Randy,
no
put it away. I mean, whoa.
There's nowhere to put it.
YouTube is going to demonetize us.
Oh, shit. Abigail Weir, the girl that plays Abigail, I thought she did a fucking great job.
She really did. She was very impressive. And to kind of go off some other things, and we're talking about the cast, she did a really good job. But I like the choice, the teeth in this one. I like the teeth, or I like the design, just the overall. It's got like a touch of Nosferatu vampire. It's got that like kind of fucked up, distorted teeth, but it doesn't look like the Nick Cage. The teeth are too big for my mouth. Like it doesn't have that feel.
I don't know. Yeah. I think Dan Stevens' teeth kind of did do that a little bit.
Yeah, Dan
But
Stevens.
Abigail's no, I would say. I would agree with you on that. And I think that most of the characters, for some reason, Dan Stevens like just really puffed him up a little bit. Like,
did you guys? But just before we get off Dan Stevens real quick, whenever he goes full vampire, he's covered in blood. He's got the glasses and the teeth and the jacket. As soon as I saw that, I was like, are they going for like a Bill Paxton Near Dark vibe for him? Like that's just what I thought of.
Yeah,
intentional or not, I definitely felt that, and I got to think that these guys know their horror movies. I'm sure that they've seen this movie and are pulling from whatever cool vampires they can find. So yeah, I got to think that was an intentional thing to have him, kind of do like this wackadoo. Like hyper machismo thing. Like I really like that a lot. I was going to bring up though in the interview or in some of the in the Q&A section that we saw, the boys from Radio Silence were asked about the teeth, or somehow the teeth came up, and they were very proud, and I thought it was really cool that they specifically like gave each vampire their own bite. Like they specifically didn't want like just the two fangs. They wanted something more animalistic, they said, which I think plays really well. But also, like, if you look at Abigail's teeth versus like Dan Stevens' teeth are like jagged. Hers are sharp and pointed, but they're like a standard row. It seems like more so, maybe a little bit more. And certainly Dracula's are just like, it's like a cartoon drawing of just like perfectly pointed teeth.
Yeah.
So I just really like that little detail, and and I did notice that before they pointed it out, but hearing them talk about it was like, it was really great. I thought that was a cool thing to do, to give your vampires a little bit of visual differentiation from the pack, basically.
I think Giancarlo seemed to struggle the most with the teeth, or at least that's how I felt when I saw him try to talk. But
yeah, that's a good point too. I forgot about his teeth. Like he just had that one teeth scene where he's like the man behind the man in the chair for the building, and he's trying to make a deal. Like
lips forward kind of feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough to do that convincingly. I know, like you can even like, a trained eye or like somebody who's been around, like braces at some point in their life can probably usually pick out people who have had braces, even if they don't anymore. So it's like there's a weird sort of like almost imperceptible thing that that makes it really easy to tell when somebody doesn't have their honest to God teeth in their mouth, or at least in the right spot. And it plays better for some people than others. I think maybe for Abigail, it plays better for that kid because she is a child and kids' teeth are still growing. They're constantly changing. So
that's a good
maybe
point, yeah.
it just, I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of biological reason we can't identify it in her as easily.
Yeah. The like dancing, the ballet aspect of this movie, like the girl can dance her ass off and it looks really cool and impressive, but like it doesn't factor into like the actual movie really. It just feels kind of an add-on sort of thing. Whereas
yes and no.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The scene it is, so I was gonna point this out. It is a shame about the reveal in the trailer because I felt the scene where they go in and she's dancing with the corpse, and they're gonna fight her or whatever. That was a good scene. I liked that scene, and that was like definitely a highlight moment for me. And I liked the dance. I kind of wish they do it. I'm like trying to think about it. The way that she fights with it was cool to me. I like that. The scenes where she's just like dancing down the hallways felt more like Megan moments. It felt calculated and like we're trying to make this thing. So I would agree there. Like in those moments, it felt like it was just a shtick. And in the other moments, I felt like it felt more natural and vibed more with what was actually happening or tied into the actual character.
Sorry, Bob, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I definitely I'm kind of two minds about that, I guess, because like, yeah, it is a little bit gimmicky to have a little girl killer basically movie where the little girl is like dancing around and doing like pirouettes and shit while she kills. That's like style, right? Like that's a style choice, right? And I'm fine with that. I think the same way that I'm fine with Megan doing her thing. But what elevated it to me was her whole character is built around being a dancer, like from top to bottom. Like it's not like they didn't put in the work to justify her behaving this way. And also the fight scene, like you just described, like that validates it like tenfold for me because it's like Suspiria 2018 shit. Like she's doing her moves and attacking, and the other character that she's controlling is attacking in a similar way. I just think it was really like a cool thing the way they handled it. I think if Megan didn't come out a year ago, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation, honestly, because that made its way by being somewhat not, I wouldn't even say gimmicky, but just sort of like so much joy came out of just watching this quote unquote little girl robot do this dance while killing people. It obviously had a moment in culture. And so like you could say, they're trying to recreate that, but I think it justifies itself enough to where I'm not, even if that's true, I'm not bothered.
Yeah, I'm not super bothered by it either. I just kind of, I wish it was like more integral to the plot in some way, but they use it. They do use it. And
I don't know why it would be though.
I don't know either. It's just
like if she was into painting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, like she could just be like a normal.
Well, this might be a good transition into something else that kind of bothered me, even though I'm like, I feel like I'm railing on this because really this movie, the way I perceive this movie is it was like mostly enjoyable. And then as I was like really just enjoying the ride, there were these things that I felt were like weird choices that just started to drop the enjoyment for me. Like, I feel like I started off really high and then like I kept dropping. And then by the end, I was a little kind of disappointed with more of the things as they kind of started piling up. So one thing that was weird to me, this was a weird choice. And maybe it's how I think about like vampires or just the situation. I don't know. It didn't feel necessary to me. So talking about working in the ballet stuff more, you kidnap this little girl and you don't know why. You don't know who she is. You literally are just hired to do this. And then the whole plot comes around of like, you assume, we're capturing this little girl. She's in this mansion. You assume we're ransoming her to her father for money, but they don't know who the father is. Okay. And then they find out he's this mysterious gang lord that nobody knows what he looks like or anything. I was baffled that they actually made that a person, because I thought the whole thing was going to be, well, yeah, this is a vampire that is a little girl, but she is hundreds of years old. She just looks like a little girl. So she has created this character of Lazar to run her system. And of course she's into ballet. She's like hundreds of years old. You know, she's been doing so.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And so when they were like, oh, it's about she has an actual father, and the whole like driving thing about, oh, so he doesn't really care about you. I was like, this is fucking stupid. Who took this swerve in the film storyline?
I do agree. Dan Stevens in the movie even says like, no, you dumb shit, she is Lazar. And then there's a really funny moment after that where what's his face goes, I thought her name was Abigail or whatever, which is a good joke. But yeah, it would make perfect sense because she is so old, like she's not actually a little girl. And I think they do that to really drive home the connection between her and like Melissa Barrera's character, who was like abandoned her child. So
For sure, but that felt.
But Abigail's not a child.
Abandoning my
She's
child.
hundreds of years old, and so like it's
I've
weird
abandoned my boy.
she would still be trying to please her father at that point because she's ancient, and like the connection is like, I understand what they're trying to do, but it doesn't quite land.
I know.
Yeah.
And why would a vampire have a father? It doesn't.
Yeah, is that like her? It's like the dude that turned
her
her
real father, or it's so stupid.
It's
to
her.
me,
It's her
honestly.
father, but not her daddy, or is it her daddy and not her father? Or is it?
That's a good question. I never even thought about that question.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think that's a good point to bring up. I don't know that it bothers me nearly as much as it does you guys. So like, to me, yes, it's done in service of the Melissa Barrera character to give them a connection that justifies her being let go at the end, her like rescuing Abigail. Like Melissa's point of view is as that of a mother in basically in crisis who is doing shit that she knows is fucking up her life to protect her kid's life, at least ostensibly. And so like she's sees this kid who's running things or whatever. I don't know. Like I feel like there is a connection there. I don't think it's as strong as it should be. Probably you're probably right on the money on that point. But I understand wanting to make that connection because like she's your point of view character, not Abigail. As much as Abigail is the front and center focus of this, she's not the protagonist. The protagonist is Melissa Barrera. So like you need to give her some way of either getting out of this fix or like resonating poetically with how this concludes. And that's how you do it. That's one way to do it. I think that you're right. Like if they had just had her be like, oh, there's no father, Lazar is a creation, whatever, then that would be fine because Melissa still has her own story. But I think it helps make sense of why Abigail feels anything at all for Melissa. Like, I don't know. Like maybe it doesn't sell quite as well as it should, but I think that makes a kind of narrative sense that without it, I think that if you didn't have that happen, it would be just a little bit shallower, you know? So
I don't know. Having Lazar show up at the end and essentially do nothing and have this really, to me, it was terrible moment of, oh, let's just like let her go, or like pleading the case. I thought that was dumb as shit.
Yeah,
honestly, the last 15 minutes of this movie, honestly, were like pretty poor to me and really dropped my overall opinion of this movie.
It didn't ruin it for me. I don't think I feel.
It didn't ruin it. It just dropped my opinion significantly.
Yeah, it didn't. I think I would have been more interested if it turned out this little girl was actually this like, you know, criminal mastermind and running the whole thing, and not just apparently trying to like murder specifically people that double cross or fail her father's empire. I think that would be more interesting, especially because she's not a little girl at all. She's really just kind of like a henchman for her dad now.
But here's the thing, like I don't think that there's a reason to think that somebody being of a certain age makes them immune to daddy issues at all. So like her being 100 years old and still trying to please her father. Somebody being 100 years old, 200 years old, 1,000 years old, and still trying to please their deadly ass vampire. If you're still trying to please, like, I don't see why somebody wouldn't, like, why that's unbelievable. Like that somebody would still want to.
I'm not saying it's totally unbelievable, but for like a supernatural being, it's like not super. it doesn't resonate, I guess, in this movie. Maybe
she's
there's a
also
way
like,
that it
we don't
could,
know
but-
the. I don't know. Like, I think that it definitely doesn't ruin anything for me. Like, because I see that as a concession made to make the lead character resonate, even though it doesn't fully land the way that I think that it maybe should, which is definitely a criticism worth having.
Yeah.
I don't think that it feels stupid to me. It feels like a decision made in service to your characters, your lead, your protagonist character. And I think that's
it's easy enough
good
to
writing is to try to do that.
I think it's still easy enough to make the connection without having this character Elzar like show up at the end. You could, I mean, okay, she's a vampire
Maybe.
who looks like a little girl, so she's turned as a child. You can still have this connection of this association with her childhood or being robbed of her childhood because she is a vampire. Like, you can make this character as an individual richer and still tie it into the characters, you know, like main. I don't know. I just that okay. So
what
talking
makes
about the
a
last
vampire little girl insecure, and how do you make that part of your story?
the last 15
question.
minutes to even it was really dumb to me because you've got this double cross, and this guy comes in, and did this not make a lick of sense to anybody? He's their servant, but he has autonomy to double cross them, and he turns Dan Stevens, and Dan Stevens tries to do the exact same thing that he just did to this guy. So this guy turns Dan Stevens thinking that he can control him. Dan Stevens immediately crosses him. Immediately.
So they do make a
Dan
distinction.
Stevens,
He's not trying to control Dan Stevens, and they do make a distinction. Giancarlo Esposito says like, no, you won't be a puppet.
You will have autonomy.
Full blown deal. Yeah.
But he is supposed to be a puppet, which is how Dan Stevens gets the whole even idea that you can make a puppet, is because he's saying like, for the past 2 years, I've been converted and I've been serving them to do this. I mean, that's how Dan Stevens gets the idea. Is this guy goes into this whole dialogue, then he double crosses him and then immediately tries to do the same thing with this other woman, and of course it doesn't work. I was like, this is the dumbest
I think the only
thing.
like vampire puppet we see in the movie is Catherine Newton's character.
Yeah.
I don't think
And I don't know,
Giancarlo
like-
is.
Okay,
I do agree.
Okay. All right.
I do agree. No, I think that's true, and I do agree that like it to your point, I think that it's ill-defined, and so like the parameters make it hard to parse. You know what I mean? Like I think that if we understood what makes somebody a puppet versus what makes somebody, I think it's like maybe it's like, oh, I think Dan Stevens, if I remember right, because it's been a minute, but does he drink Giancarlo's blood himself and to become? He's not bitten and becomes a puppet. He drinks blood and becomes a autonomous vampire. So maybe that's the rule that we just aren't keying in on. But like, I also agree though that like Giancarlo is wasted in this movie. I feel like his character, like he does a good job with what he's given, but it's not a lot. His character, like I wish that he tried to play Dan Stevens another way instead of obviously Dan Stevens. Like it's just so telecast that Dan Stevens is going to like attain power, immediately buck, and then try and kill everybody and become top dog. That's clear. That's what's going to happen. Like, and I don't know. It's overly telecast is my main thing about that. And I don't think that they're telecast. That's not even the right word. It's overly, the overtures are there. And I just don't see it as being like the best service of his character. I think that him getting a comeuppance in the form of like Dracula or whatever, Lazar coming in and just flicking his wrist and like holding him up against the wall or something, like doing some Magneto shit to him where he can't even move because he's the master vampire, like that. Yeah. And then getting comeuppance that way is like, oh, you thought you could usurp this shit. You thought you were that good of a double agent, didn't you? Yeah. Well, no, you're a fucking scrub and gets killed. Like, I think that makes sense. But it doesn't quite do that. Instead, he sort of like tries his luck, and Melissa Barrera just, you know, in fairness, like it is very compelling to watch her succeed at killing him. The two of them succeed at killing him without the help of a third party or whatever. But I don't know. I just feel like there might have been a way to give him more of a like, I don't know, more of a send off than he got, because it was just so very obvious that he, like, whatever you think that he's gonna do or whatever power you give him, he's going to abuse it. That is his character, and think that like by the time we see Giancarlo and him making a deal, that's so fucking obvious that it becomes somewhat boring.
Yeah.
I mostly agree with that. I think the only other little thing that I have for this movie is like the meat of it felt like the cat and mouse portion felt a little repetitive because they like continuously like split up and come together and split up and come together and split up and come together, and like I know they're stuck in this house and they can't get out, but it also seems like they didn't try super hard to get out. Maybe they could have focused on that a little more too, but
I thought
nitpicky.
the way I see this movie is the first third I would say was the strongest for me because I thought the setting up of this heist aspect and working in a heist into a horror movie, I found that very interesting because they set up all of these characters so well, in my opinion. Each one, you know, we talked about this in several things, Beetlejuice and stuff, but where every character is like so distinctive. They have their own kind of role, even though you're just getting introduced to these characters. I liked it. And what I also feel was like underutilized, they set that up so well and it was so intriguing to have it. And then you put them in this setting. And I thought that all of the skill sets that they set these people up to have were kind of wasted because the hacker doesn't really get to hack anything. And obviously, like, it makes sense to kill the driver first. Okay, you know, the driver, you can't drive in a you can't drive in a car. A car in a house.
You cannot drive in a car.
Don't tell me what I can't do.
So
I'm gonna drive this house.
Yeah. So kill him first. I also thought the way that they kill the first guy, and I thought that was great. You know, off screen we're still teasing, we don't know it's a vampire, but then you have this other military guy who I think that they killed way too quick.
I'm just a Jesus loving ex-Marine.
Ex-Marine. They killed him way too quick, and it was such a bummer to me because they did it in the exact same way.
Yeah.
Flash off screen.
Anything, really.
He doesn't do anything. Yeah, and I
kind of like that.
I didn't because I was like, we literally, this is the second kill. We literally just did this. There's somebody and they're off screen and then they're killed in this mysterious way.
It would be well served if you didn't know it was a vampire girl already, you know?
Well, it would, but also too, it's just like, nobody gets to use their actual skills. So why do we spend so much time establishing that they all have their own set of special skills?
That's a fair point.
I don't I don't see their exposition as being too much about their skills as much as their sins. Like, I think that's what it is.
The whole beginning is about establishing their skills. The whole opening scene is about establishing people
their
as their
background
skills.
It is not just their skills, to be fair. It's their
no, it's like a lot more than that. Like, here's who you are. Here's like that whole Melissa Barrera reading the room situation. Yeah. That is not about what their skills are. It's about what they're hiding and what it is that makes them pieces of shit in their own right. Like,
I just thought that aspect was very underutilized.
I don't know. I think that, like, I like the scene of the military man who's Rickles, William Catlett.
Yeah.
He, like, I think he does an okay job or whatever, but he's like, I think that having your, like, most reliable, strongest character that Melissa Barrera might actually be able to, like, your biggest ally, just have him, like, you turn one, like, the way it happens, it's not like just off screen. It's not like he walks in the other room and then somebody finds him in the other room. They turn from each other, if I remember right, and then you hear a sound and she turns around and he's dead. He's fucking standing there dead. And so, like, there goes your last great hope of survival, basically, of trusting anybody. I think that's good. I do think that if they had reversed the kill order and had him die first, then that it hits even harder. And then that gives a little bit more of Angus Cloud's, like dipshittery to
maybe we get more comedy from him. Yeah.
Right. And then he eventually makes a boneheaded decision and dies. And he can die in a million different ways. It doesn't matter at that point. He can, but, like, I think that in an isolation is still a great scene. That's all I'm saying.
Even, like, just having, like, this hacker and, like, she doesn't get to do anything.
She tries to find some sort of, like, some switch to reset, you know.
But to your point, Bob, the whole idea too, it's like that Scooby-Doo aspect, like, let's split up. It's like, why? What are you talking about? Why are you
Yeah. I don't know. I think we
Who
kind of
keeps
touched.
suggesting that?
We kind of touched. I think Dan Stevens does. But I think we touched on most things.
That make
Any other major points you want to hit before we rate this?
major? No.
Okay.
But
No,
I could quibble on this all day long. I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and land this plane, gentlemen's. Out of 5, Juice, kick us off. How do you feel about Abigail?
All right, I'm gonna quickly go down the positives because I was like nitpicking. There's like the problem is like there is a lot of nitpickiness going on here, or like a lot of things to nitpick. I think, but where I like my journey through this movie is the first third. I was really impressed and intrigued, and it did a perfect job of pulling me in. I really like the heist aspect. I thought they did a great job with not a lot of screen time to establish these characters. I knew exactly kind of who they were and what they were about from the start, was like invested or intrigued by each one of them, honestly. And each one of them could have gone on to lead in some kind of like little journey or something. And I would have been following along, interested what was going to happen. So I thought that they established that really well. The setting, badass. I really love the fucking setting. And I love that we get to explore different aspects of this, falling into the pool, going into these kind of like basement little corridors and stuff like that. All of it. And even just like the nice rooms where she's dancing. And I just thought that they utilized the setting really well. And I loved the setting. So then the second third, I would say, is solid. It's more popcorny. I feel like there's not as much meat there, but there is more entertainment. So we have some fight scenes. I did like the scene where they're like getting their ass whooped and she stabs that dude 1,000,000 times with a tiny little cross and she smells the garlic. And we're still establishing this kind of lore because like we already established the characters. Now we're diving more into Abigail herself and like what makes her who she is. And so there wasn't as much like impressive there, but I was still in it, and it was more just kind of like popcorny stuff. The last half dropped off so bad for me. A lot of it felt very cheesy and just half baked. I think it starts where she's in the cage. So her whole info dump of like, you double cross me and piecing those things together. I was not really about that. Gus in the basement being underutilized and double cross again. Dan Stevens' teeth definitely looked the worst. The whole aspect that she actually has a father and then he shows up at the end just to not do anything, just to have these kind of like couple lines of basic, oh, I wish my father appreciated me kind of lines just to end the movie. I thought the last third dropped off so much for me. It was ridiculous. I was so disappointed in what I thought they established as like really good characters and really good lore just to kind of piss away on some really like fucking basic lines, I thought.
This is the positives.
Well, no, I'm kind of going through my journey. So I did start with the positives of the settings and everything. But so, yeah, I don't know. It's still overall, I think, is positive and it was fun, but I was so disappointed with the ending. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a 3.25. It's on the positive side. If they had stuck more of the landings, if they had just like really closed out strong or even just like kind of medium, I feel like it would have easily been a 3.5 to a 4. And it just like there was just this huge drop off for me. And it was kind of a bummer. Left a sour note for me for sure. But yeah, 3.25. Bob, out of 5, are you going to rate Abigail?
Bobbo.
Hello. I like that. Can that be my signature bump now? Is that doable?
Well, not now that you've said that.
Fuck, I hate
Well, now
that
we're
bump.
scrapping it.
I don't ever want to
I
hear
don't
that
give
bump
people what they want.
ever
That's
again.
That's my
That's
my
Randy.
modus
Randy loves to
operandi.
withhold.
I love it when
I'm
you
a withholding
withhold.
bitch.
It just makes me want it even more.
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
Play into those daddy issues, Randy.
I think this movie, first and foremost, like succeeds based on this amazing ensemble cast they have. all these characters are like really, really turning in solid performances, and they've got this interesting like back and forth, even in like really little tiny moments, like when they're in the van. That brief moment between Kevin Durant and Catherine Newton when they're like playing quarters and drinking is like funny. I don't know. There's like little moments that I think come together really well. Angus Cloud was great. Dan Stevens with his crazy accent. All that is just so fun. The like sitting around like the billiard table and like shooting the shit. I really love that scene. The movie could have started there probably. I like the idea of the heist though, like actually seeing them break in and steal this little girl, and then you get some sort of like the mobster aspect coming in towards the end of the movie. The more you find out. I like all that stuff too. The exploding bodies, they really don't skimp on the gore here. I'm definitely a fan of that. Painting the walls red, and there's definitely stuff that you can pick apart and pull at that really aren't fully formed or don't totally serve the movie in the best way that they could have. But I think generally speaking, this was trying to be a fun like popcorn movie, and I think it does succeed in that way. I definitely had a good time watching it, even if the ending isn't like totally satisfactory. Like why is this little girl who's not really a little girl like identifying with this human who like abandoned her kid? And I don't know, it feels a little, maybe a touch unbelievable. Yeah, the ending is a little flat, I guess, but generally speaking, I think it's a fun ride, and I love seeing Kevin Durant in a movie. We need more of it. So yeah, I think a little warmer on this than you, Juice, but I think after our conversation, I'm gonna come down a touch from where I was and just call it a 3.75 out of 5.
Even me out, Bob.
Even him out, Bob.
With pleasure. Randy, how do you feel?
Yeah, so man, I really did enjoy myself watching this movie. I think that maybe some of what, Justin, you're talking about is actually can be traced back to the fact that you had no idea what this movie was about at all. Because like the fact that you were so invested in the heist or whatever, and so invested in like what are these skills going to be employed to use to do later in the movie, I wasn't so concerned with that because I kind of knew where this was going to be. It was going to be like, some of these people are not going to make it out alive. Most of them probably aren't going to make it out alive. Maybe none of them. So I don't really like their skills, like, and how they interplay. Like, I think that having them show off their skills, show off why they're there, and give little indications of what their personality are. Oh, like whatever. Lisa Frankenstein, she's kind of aloof. The wheelman, he's kind of an idiot. Dan Stevens is a complete piece of shit, and like aggressively so. And Kevin Durant is kind of a dummy, but he's doing his job. He's a soldier. You know, like you get like ideas of that through the process of them kidnapping Abigail. So I think that, and then you get the billiard room scene to solidify not just who they are, but why they are, what their sins are, what makes them need money, what makes them want to be there. Lisa Frankenstein doesn't need to be there at all. She's there for the kicks. And I think like that's as much as we get out of that character, unfortunately, in terms of like pathos. But I think that a lot of the characters, like you set all that up so that then you can get into the action and you know your characters as they go into the big action of the movie. So I'm okay with all that, and I think that that's like because I knew kind of what was coming. So in fairness, I think that's where I'm coming from. That said, like I don't know, I feel like the way that this movie progresses makes sense. The first third I think is fine. The second third I think is fucking fabulous. It's my favorite part of the movie with all the fight scenes and all the like silliness and like ridiculous fucking heads falling off and shit. Like it's just goofy fun, and that like throughout the movie I'm pretty clear on what I'm expecting. Like this is not a serious fare. This is an action horror comedy. Like this is not something that's going to keep me up at night. This is something that I'm going to laugh out with my buddies. So when it gets to the end and there's Dracula or whatever, I think that like adding the pathos in or whatever, I don't think that Giancarlo Esposito and that whole thing with Dan Stevens worked out really well, but it was a means to an end to get him to a place to be the basically mini boss before Lazar showed up, and then turns out that like the connection between Melissa and Abigail is what saves her. Not being as much of a piece of shit as Dan Stevens is what saves her. Having some sort of like sense of, I don't know, decency towards this kid, even as she's killing people. And like I again with the kid and her issues with Dracula, I don't know if he's her real dad or what. Like that is in question. But like the idea of like pleasing your parental figure, especially a father figure, being a load you care, like an uncaring father figure, being a load you carry throughout your lifetime is absolutely true to life. I don't see any flaw in that logic. I think maybe it could have been played better. And I don't think that it was as exciting when I thought that, like, I didn't realize that the Dan Stevens fight was going to be the last fight, period. The minute Dracula showed up, I was like, okay, this is about to go into a second climax, and it doesn't do that. So it does leave me a little deflated in that way. So I kind of had similar emotions at times as you guys, but I think they were for different reasons. And I think that generally overall, I felt really like I understood what this movie was, I think. And what it is just like something for like a means to an end to get all of these like cool set pieces happening or whatever. And you hang it all on enough pathos to make it work. And I think they come pretty close to doing that perfectly. Not perfect. Well, perfectly is not a bad word. They come pretty close to doing that in a way that's like that services the movie really, really well. They don't quite service it perfectly, though, I guess is what I would say. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to fall right between you guys. Like, this is not as good to me as Ready or Not, so I'm using that as a bit of a barometer, and I'm going to put this at a 3.5 because of that. I connect with Melissa Barrera's character a little bit, but I connected with the lead character of Ready or Not way more, and you spend more time with her, and you understand where she's coming from a lot easier. So, like, just the barrier for entry for this action comedy horror was a little bit lower, and I think that helped me enjoy it more all the way through, whereas this had a little bit higher hurdles to jump. So, for that reason, it's a 3.5 for me.
Cool. Randy, how's it feel to be the meat in our sandwich?
It feels warm.
I bet it does. Extra mayo. Our aggregate is going to be a 3.5. Let's go ahead and jump into Randy's Rotten Maters segment and see what the critics and users think about Abigail.
Certified fresh dead.
Oh, welcome to Randy's Rotten Maters.
Hell yeah, brother. Woo!
Bob, your personality more and more is matching that beard.
Randy's Rotten Fried Green Maters. Can't get enough.
Hell yeah.
So plump, so right.
All right. So this is a segment in which I'm going to get these gentlemen to guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate of positive reviews are on RottenTomatoes.com for Abigail. We're going to start with the critics and then move on to the users. So with those critics, there are 177 reviews to count here. So, a little under 200. I'm going to start with Bob tonight. Bob, out of those 177 critic reviews, what do you think the aggregate of positive reviews is going to be? What percentage?
I think it'll be pretty positive, not crazy high. Pretty good. I'll do, give me The Boys, 86, project.
Oh my God. The necktie remedy. There it is. All right. Soju, you got yourself The Boys on your hands here. Where do you think, are you going to go over, under? What percentage is going to be the aggregate positive for you?
I think that's a pretty good guess. I think generally this is going to be positive. I think the critics will be mostly like pleasantly surprised. I think Radio Silence has a kind of generally like good reputation amongst critics. But I can't really take it much higher. So I'll just play it safe and take the under. I'll say 80.
80. All right. So we got 80 and we got 86. Wow. Has this ever happened? The correct answer is dead center of both of you at 83%.
Whoa, tie. It has happened.
Damn.
Has it? Okay. I couldn't remember if it had
it's happened
before.
at least twice, I think, actually.
Jesus. Well, congrats to both of you guys. Hell's yeet.
We're just making sandwiches all day. Every
hell
day.
Skeet, hell yeet, Mom.
The old skeet and yeet.
Oh my. You guys are just on fire. Game on, gamer. All right.
Classic skeet and yeet.
My dad taught me that one.
I believe that.
Randy,
Well,
you're not connected. You lost your microphone again. Hands off, brother. Hands
We're
off.
robbed of a.
There you go. You're back.
Testing.
You're back.
Better? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that joke wasn't good enough for repeating, so let's go ahead.
It was
forward.
too blue for even our show.
I would be dead in the gutter if I said that joke out loud. Let's go with Juice. Let's go with Juice for our audience review. Now, there are over 500 of those, Juice. What percentage of those 500 plus verified user ratings would you wager are positive?
I think it's going to be similar, honestly. I think everybody's going to be kind of on the same page here. I think I'll just double down on the 80.
80. All right. Bob, you? What are you feeling?
Yeah, it's probably going to be about the same. I don't see it going. It could be below 80, but I don't think it's gonna be. I'll double down again too, man. Just give me the 86.
Dude, let's get double
86. Oh man.
That would be
unfortunately, that is not going to happen.
Damn.
But what is going to happen is an unprecedented ringy dingy on the perfect answer at 86%. Bob's gonna take this one.
Boys never let you down, Bob.
The boys coming in clutch.
Well done, Bob. Congratulations on your big ol' win.
All skeet, no yeet, brother.
Well, some yeet.
There's a little yeet in there.
There was, I guess, a dash.
There's a marginal amount of yeet.
Dash of yeet.
Man, nothing we say makes sense. All right,
Randy's
let's move on to our
Maters.
Let's move on as we always do. We're going to read a couple of the negative. Oh wait, is there a critics consensus? There isn't. No, there is a critics consensus. I'm sorry. All right, there's a critics consensus for this film, and it reads as follows: carrying off well-worn vampire tropes with a balletic flourish.
Balleic.
I don't know how you pronounce that exactly. Balleic makes the most sense. Abigail dances around the familiarity of its premise with a game cast and slick style. It's premise with a game cast and slick. What does game cast mean? I don't fucking know what that is.
A game cast? Is it the same? It feels like a video game where you pick like each character is like a character in a video game.
Like they feel very game.
I guess maybe
they're down.
Like you got the muscle.
Like they're Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah, yeah. Or well, even just like
Sunny in Philadelphia characters.
Do you pick the big slow muscle or do you pick the medium?
I think they're going for their down. Like they're very game for this premise. They're very down for this premise.
That makes a lot more sense to me.
That does make a lot more sense.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, they're not talking. I don't think they're talking video games.
Flawless victory for Bob.
Gen X lingo.
Yeah. All right, let's read the audience consensus.
I don't know.
Let's read the audience consensus. That is not a generational divide. We just did not read
Those
that correctly.
Gen Xers just keep saying game, and it means anything.
It means everything. Audience consensus read as follows. Abigail is a little silly, a little scary, and a lot of fun. Just be prepared for a story that takes its time getting going and might go on a little too long. I don't know if I agree with that. Like, it's pretty tight, I thought, for what it is. Maybe a little bit too much back and forth with the cat and mouse.
Yeah, you could trim a little bit, but yeah, not
hour
too much.
49.
That's
maybe a little.
That's not what. Yeah, that's not what.
You could maybe go to an hour 45, an hour 40.
Yeah, it's not
fine. But
yeah.
Fuck the audience consensus.
Fuck out of here.
That's what we all say.
Jerk offs.
Well, I mean,
we used to be men of the people. Now we tell the people to fuck themselves. That's just the natural progression.
Now we're
of
men
things.
of the critics.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
All right, let's read some
peasants.
All right, let's move on. Some negative reviews. Let's find some funny ones, hopefully at random. Here we go. The film's setup and the screenplay by Stephen Shields and Guy Busick are really intriguing, but the execution, unintended, is where it lets itself down.
Thanks, guy. Hey! You guys get that? You
Abigail
get that
twirling into theaters.
Yep. Abigail is balleting her sweet toot ass into theaters today. Yeah, no, that's
Let's
fine.
not talk
I
about
guess.
children's asses.
Yeah,
On
it's she might be like hundreds of years
that's
old
fair.
in the movie, but not in real life.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of it in terms of physical asses, but that's fair.
Metaphorical ass.
Yeah, it's one of those metaphorical asses. Although vampirism is important, in the end, what is said about it is pure rehash, and that's translated from Spanish. So we have an excuse for why that's a little weird.
Randy, that doesn't excuse you reading English.
It's not the Spanish is not there. It says full review in Spanish.
I want you to
That's
read
how I
it
know.
in Spanish.
How about this? No,
Oh, Randy, wow.
I'm speaking Spanish, buddy.
Sounds good to me.
That's it for Rotten Tomatoes. Let's move on before my drunken ass, metaphorical ass, gets any worse.
Drunken metaphors. All right. Yeah, there's a little bit of trivia left. Let's get into it.
It's totally time for trivia.
Boys. This apparently started off as being a loose remake of Dracula's Daughter from 1936. But then it went into
Really?
crazy different directions and clearly is not that anymore. But they did keep that on as the working title when they were filming, apparently.
Okay.
I watched that movie in a class in college. That I was the last class of my day. It was at like fucking 9 p.m. or some crazy shit. I very much could not keep my eyes open. So I don't remember much, but I don't think it was anything even resembling this in the slightest bit outside of the title.
Yeah. That's not surprising to hear. I've never seen it, though, so I don't know. Can't really speak on it.
I'm pretty sure that one was
seen it either.
associated with lesbianism in some way. I might be
Wouldn't
speaking
be
out of turn.
surprising, but
Yeah. So I don't know.
some of those Hammer horror movies, and I'm assuming it's Hammer. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah,
I don't think 1936. I don't think so.
When did Hammer start? Maybe it was later in the 40s. I could be wrong. Probably am.
I don't know.
So I don't.
We don't know anything.
We don't know. Let's stop talking about it. We don't know about it.
Yeah.
Abigail dancing was largely driven by Alicia Weir's natural abilities. Co-director Matt Bettinelli explained, I mean, not for nothing, but we went into production, and as we were meeting Alicia, this is going to be hard to believe if you've seen the trailer. The dancing was not actually a big part of it. It was a very tiny little flavor, and then because she was very good at dancing, they wanted to do more of it. So they did.
Okay.
I think they built that in nicely, personally. Like,
Yeah. I'm glad it's
I
there.
didn't.
Like,
I wouldn't have guessed that.
It looks cool,
Yeah.
you know?
It definitely gives it a distinct flavor.
Yeah, that Megan flavor. A dash of the Megan.
Nah, it's better than Megan. That's for
That's
sure.
giving Megan too much credit.
I would agree with
Way
Dancing is
better.
give it that
As much-
Suspiria
yeah.
2018.
As much as I
flavor.
criticize this movie, it's significantly better than Megan.
Yeah, I agree, for
I
sure.
agree with that.
Dan Stevens apparently took inspiration from I Think You Should Leave for his character in this movie, specifically the look of his slicked back hair.
Okay.
I guess came
Yeah.
from that show. I have seen that, but I can't remember that the character.
Oh, maybe is that the sloppy steaks look? Maybe it is. Do you guys know what? Am I speaking gibberish to you right
I've
now?
seen it, but I just don't remember that.
I think like there's a whole long bit that was very popular about Tim Robinson being at a party and a baby crying at his face like, no, I used to be a piece of shit. He probably sees that I used to be a piece of shit. And then he starts talking about how he used to slick back his hair and then go to restaurants and eat sloppy steaks, which is steaks with water dumped all over it for no good reason. It's very fucking weird. Describing it as doing it no justice. It is very funny. But maybe that's what it comes from, because I can't think of any other slick back hair characters from that show, and like off the top of my head.
Oh shit! I'll take a T-bone sloppy, please.
Extra sloppy, please.
I know how you
Make
kids
that
like
extra
steaks.
sloppy.
extra.
I used to
sloppy.
be a real piece of shit.
We've all
That's a
been
great
there,
show.
hey boys.
I'm
We
just a
have
little
all
fucked
been
up. Just a couple more quick points here. The music in this trailer is the main theme from Tchaikovsky's ballet Swan Lake, which apparently was also used in the opening titles of Dracula from 1931.
Okay, so that's cool.
Last bit here, the filmmakers revealed they filmed 2 versions of Abigail. One was more focused on horror, one was more focused on the comedic elements, and the final result was a blended version of the 2.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, probably a decent way to go about it.
I honestly don't have a problem with the way the character or like just the general tone of the movie. I think it was a good blend of horror, thriller, comedy, and action. Honestly, I thought it was one of the best parts.
I wonder if they shot it in both ways, like they did with American Psycho, where they had Willem Dafoe as the police inspector play it in 3 different ways and then intersplice them together. I wonder if it was that sort of thing or if it was like a decision beforehand. Yeah, because it really doesn't read like it's incongruous with either of those positions.
No,
to me.
it flows.
It seems very blended. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, whatever they did, I think that worked out. The balance, tonally, I think is
definitely
totally fine. Yeah,
me too. Which honestly really goes back to like Ready or Not. Ready or Not had that same kind of feel. You had some really solid comedic beats, some really great action beats, some really great gory horror beats. Yeah.
And not to be like beating the dead horse for this, but like Sam Raimi toes the same line a lot of the time when he's in horror realm. Like he goes a lot more comedic than they do. Yeah. And I think I would characterize some of those movies definitely more as comedies than as horrors, but they are clearly horror inspired. And I think this movie does maybe even a more balanced job at juggling those two things. And I think that Ready or Not does too. So maybe this is just like a particular cadence that they excel at, and I'm ready to see more of it personally.
Ready or Not, here it comes.
I would definitely rather see more of this than some
Scream bullshit. Me too, brother.
I don't think that they excel with. I asked them. That was one of the questions I asked them on that red carpet at Overlook. Was, hey, what do you think is the bigger challenge?
Hey, fucker, what do you think?
Hey, fucker, I didn't quite open.
Randy, straight chilling. But look here, fuck.
Look here, you motherfucker.
My name's Bob. We're the straight chilling.
Bob was taking a leak while this was happening, and that is not a joke.
That's true.
But yeah, no, I asked him, I was like, what's the more like challenging thing for you? Is it more challenging to work with an existing franchise or more challenging for you to come up with something like valuable that you can make into a thing? And they said absolutely the latter is easier. It's much harder to satisfy the requirements of an existing franchise. And I think that shows in how they approach or how the results of their work. I am definitely more drawn to their original stuff than I am to their franchise stuff. I think that they show a lot of fucking great promise with that stuff. But the opportunities are where they are.
Did you just respond with like, yeah, we can fucking tell, bro, you fuck, and then walk away?
No, I responded with, Rob wanted me to tell you that your movies suck. He thinks you suck ass and he wants you to go to hell. So I just want you to know that.
Bob said, which is me, Bob from Straight Chilling.
Remember this face. This is Bob's face. You fuck.
Oh, remember this name. Mostly this name.
But forget
I'm
the
Bobo
face.
Bobo.
And,
forget the
I'm
face.
Here to say,
remember the name.
No. I genuinely think these guys are great filmmakers. If they're like left to their own devices, they clearly excel at a certain cadence of horror, and they could go further with that. But like the franchise brings with it so much dross, it makes perfect sense that's harder to accomplish if you've got other great ideas milling around in your head that you want to eke into the fucking film, and you can't quite make it work because you have so many other bingo cards to hit. Speaking of bingo checks,
look at our boy David Gordon Green.
Exactly. He should be making his own fucking movies.
Do what he did.
Make new movies, man.
Just look at our boy Rob Zombie. I mean, same.
Nailing it.
Oh. Just make your own. Everybody make your own
31s. Movies. He would accept.
I want to see 32. That's what I want.
I want to see 69.
I know you do, buddy. I know you
69, dudes.
The old
Hey, I've been drinking. What's all of your excuses?
I'm supposed to be
early for me. That's
episode.
My excuse every week. I'm just deliriously sleepy.
Randy beat me to
I roll out of bed.
Juice, since your tired ass is up next, let's talk about Cooter of the Week.
Oh, let's do that.
Juice, what is a cooter and why do we hunt them?
Oh, Cooter's a character type and a straight, chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a cooter. We want the cooter with the most points. The 5 points of cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall looking attire, and overall patheticness. Boys, I think we probably have a couple cooters this week, or potential
might be a whole
cooters. Yeah.
Might be a whole gaggle of cooters.
Gaggle of coots.
Yeah.
Gaggle of coots. Let's see. Let's start with Dan Stevens' character, maybe. I feel like he might have the best.
I think
he's the most developed.
Smug.
Well, he's the villain.
Smug arrogance.
Manipulation
Yes.
as fuck.
Manipulation, check. I don't think there was any sexual deviance on his part that I remember.
Not really in
Was
this
there
whole
any sexual
movie.
deviance at all in this film? I don't think so. I think that we can interpret that.
I don't
one
think.
off
I
for
mean
this
that
movie.
one dude just like kind of hits on the hacker a lot. But
Yeah,
other than that,
the
there's
clout-
not.
Yeah. But
Not
the wheelman
really.
does, but he's like rejected in a humorous fashion, and that's
Yeah, I
really
mean,
kind of the end of it.
It leaves it there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, I don't think so.
He's not pathetic.
Not pathetic.
No,
except that his
attire?
whole
Did we
like
say attire?
plan like
Oh,
doesn't
sorry.
work out. He just like
Yeah.
immediately fails.
Doesn't strike me as pathetic.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
The
I think he's the
attire's
most
fine.
smooth operator there.
He looks all right with
I
those
think he's the most
Dahmers.
smooth.
He's rocking
Out of the
Dahmers.
batch with the
Randy.
The
I
Dahmers?
thought your mic broke again.
I thought
Yeah.
your mic was gonna get to
yeah, the glasses. He's rocking the Dahmers.
Yeah. Yeah, his
the
attire's
Dahmer
fine.
glasses. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Is
his looking
he?
attire. Well, I would say that
No, he's not rocking the Dahmer
Yes,
glasses.
he
is he?
absolutely is. Yeah.
I thought they were rimmed.
Yeah, really
It might
thin.
be.
Really thin. Yeah.
Really? Okay. I would assume they were thicker black rimmed glasses.
No, no.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No,
My bad.
they are kind of thicker actually, but they are that shape. They are the
Yeah.
shape.
Okay.
of-
Gotcha.
So
Is
he's
that
kind of
Dahmer?
halfway.
Two
It's kind of halfway between Weezer and Dahmer.
two
So,
of
yeah,
5,
two.
I think, really.
All right. Well, who else then could we get?
Abigail? Maybe?
Manipulation. She sets the whole thing up. Smug,
Mm.
arrogant. She plays with her food. She's gonna hit
States.
the same, I think.
Yeah. Look at attire.
Looking at Tyre is badass.
Look at her
Badass
fine.
4'8" kid
She's
vampire.
not pathetic. She's like in control all the time.
She's
Oh,
like,
yeah, most of the time.
it seems like her whole thing is to like try and get her father's approval for hundreds of years. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a little pathetic.
I would say it's a little pathetic. I think that's a good, like I was gonna say, like that as a pathos for a character is pretty understandable no matter what their age is or whatever. Like you don't trying to please a father figure is that is unreceptive to you is something that affects people their whole lives.
Yeah.
And we don't know how a whole life
Yeah.
looks after 200 years or 300 years, but we can assume we would assume that it would be similar to somebody who's in their 80s still wondering why their dad didn't love them. You know what I mean? So I think that that's understandable is all I'm saying.
Yeah. That would be the 3. If she had 3, that would be the 3rd. So I don't
yeah.
know. She doesn't feel like a cooter, really.
Not really.
No.
But
How about Giancarlo?
who's that?
yeah.
Giancarlo Esposito,
the control room
the
guy.
middleman.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Manipulation.
So-
check. Smug.
Manipulation.
Yes, manipulation. I would say he's more pathetic.
I'd say he's more pathetic too.
more
yeah.
pathetic because he believes the most obvious, unbelievable person
yeah.
with his plan, who immediately
Smug.
turns on him.
Smug arrogance is there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
So yeah, maybe he's
those are your
he's
3.
probably the biggest like feeling cooter.
Yeah, he's just
I
kind of
will
like a
s-
little sniveling guy, you know.
Yeah, who immediately gets taken out and
Yeah.
whose plan is really fucking stupid. And yeah,
I do want to point out that both Dan Stevens and him, their teeth situation might be a little bit of an entire
look at it higher.
infraction.
That might be fair.
Giancarlo,
Yeah.
I think, when he's like going to bite Dan
His is
Stevens,
probably
he's
worse.
He's like a lips. He leads with his lips, with like a quivering lip.
He
It's
does
a
the
weird-
double Elvis.
It's a weird moment, but yeah, some people might be into it. You know, I don't know.
Well,
I'm into it.
Some people.
Some people named Bob. I mean,
I don't know who they are.
Some
But
people
some
might have a sock
people-
with his name on it.
remember this name. Forget the face.
Giancarlo Esposito. That's got to be a tube sock, maybe. All the knee high.
Oh, shit.
Giancarlo
Jesus
Esposito.
That's a humble
Give me
brag.
the biggest sock you got.
I got some jerking to do, motherfucker.
Jesus. This took a turn.
All right.
The old skinny.
Yeah, it always does. The old.
So yeah, this sounds like he'd be
Let's
the
move
one. If we want to,
Yeah,
if we
okay.
want to
Anybody hits 3, it's going to be him.
Yeah,
I do think
that's fair.
yeah,
But I also think that like this movie positions, there's no like foil to Cooter behavior in this, and I kind of feel like that's like
Well,
there's no
okay,
like straight up normal person for you to be a barometer for how fucked up these people are, and I think that these people are positioned generally to be, they would be Cooters in any other movie, is I guess what I'm getting at.
Well, I think the Cooter of the squad, I think the driver is supposed to be the most in the Cooter realm.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Because he does his whole thing where he's wrong about, like, he's very smug, arrogant about being able to read people, and then he's just 100% wrong. So you could say smug arrogance and patheticness. He's constantly hitting on this one girl and like getting rejected, so that's like also kind of pathetic.
he draws a
looking at-
dick on
Yeah,
Kevin's face, which is kind
sexual deviance,
kind of funny.
maybe
Well,
a
yeah.
little bit.
Well, yeah. I guess. That's sexual deviance. I think we all have something to worry about if that's sexual deviance.
Oh boy.
Smug arrogance, not necessarily.
Yeah, I think Giancarlo is gonna hit because his whole character is just getting played by everybody around him.
Yeah,
Really.
that's true.
Like he
That's
starts
true.
playing people at the beginning, and then when he's reintroduced, it's immediately to be just a means to an end for Dan Stevens to become a powerful piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's just a stepping stone for the real villain.
Let's take him. Let's take him. We got him.
Pretty pathetic. Put him in. Put him in the cell.
We got our Cooter of the week, Giancarlo.
Fucking idiot.
Sorry about your luck, bro. So let's talk about what we've been watching this week, boys.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Randeezy, what you been watching?
Yeah, I've watched a few things this week. I did finish up the show Ripley, which I mentioned the last episode or two, and I enjoyed it. I did not know until afterwards that it is an adaptation of the book The Talented Mr. Ripley, and I've not seen that film, so I didn't like have any frame of reference for that. I didn't know that, but I really liked the series overall. I didn't care for the ending. I feel like some of the characters kind of got the shaft, like narratively speaking. It didn't. I don't know. I don't want to go too deep into it because if you watch it, it's worth watching and the mystery and intrigue carries you through, but I don't love how it ended. I also didn't love the Block Island sound, which I posted about on the Slack. I finally watched that. It's a 2020 film by Kevin McManus, and I don't know. That one, like, it just wasn't what I expected it to be, and it turned into like the most painfully obvious version of itself, and that kind of took the wind out of my sails for the concept. The concept itself, I thought it was going to be something like relating to like the Havana syndrome or some shit like that, like a newer conspiracy that you could like make a horror movie around and maybe do something cool with, but they kind of relied on older tropes than that by the end of things, and they didn't particularly handle them that well, in my opinion. I also watched a double feature with Beck where we picked a theme, and that theme was cult movies, like movies that involve cults, not movies that are cult classics. And we watched two movies. We watched Faults, the 2015 film by Riley Stearns, and The Sound of My Voice, the 2011 film by Zal Batmanglij, which literally involves the name. You can't spell it without spelling Batmang. So I think that should give him an
Hell
edge
yeah.
in everything that we have to say about Alice. But yeah, so watching those Faults was what is her name? Mary Elizabeth Winstead is big in that, as well as one of the character actors. What is his name? The lead actor is a character that we've seen in like Seven. He was the guy that was the Sin of Lust, if you remember that little debacle. He was the guy they found at that location. He's also in The Bone Collector and a lot of other things. So he has a particular style. He's a character actor, but he plays Leland Orser is his name. And he does a fucking fabulous job leading this movie. His acting is like great. Apparently he modeled a lot of his character's quirks after William H. Macy in Fargo is what I gather.
He's also the dad in The Guest.
Yes, he's in The Guest as well with Dan Stevens. And
I think we praised him a lot when we talked about.
We loved him in that, and I'm like so psyched to see this movie where he leads, and not only is a leading role, but it's like a good one. I think like it's not the best movie of all time, but it's enjoyable.
Lance Reddick is in this, and The Guest as well.
Wow,
yeah, that's true. Lance Reddick has a pretty small role, but it's fine. Like he does a Lance Reddick thing where he's an intimidating, scary guy, and he does it well, as he always did. Rest in peace, Lance. And then the sound of my voice on the other end of the spectrum, I did not particularly care for this movie. I didn't recognize too many of the actors or whatever, and that's fine. But like the story was like, it was kind of in the end ambiguous when it probably shouldn't have been. And like there's so much exposition in place of showing that was happening. And I don't know. I feel like the acting wasn't quite up to snuff overall from a lot of those characters. It was a downturn after watching Faults, in my opinion. So fine, but not great. And then last but not least, I want to mention Baby Reindeer, which I shotgunned faster than I've binged any show in a long time. Even Ripley, which I watched pretty quickly. And like that show took some turns I had no idea were coming. I had no fucking idea were coming and really hit hard. And it turned from like sort of this quirky, almost like black comedy into just like a very emotionally resonant thing that is very confessional and like very honestly, like very brave of this guy to both write in and star in a story of his own life, thinly veiled, that is this it doesn't pull any punches away from himself or anything else. I think he's like extremely thoughtful with how he portrays it, and he makes all of these things that his lead character. This is Richard Gadd, by the way, the lead in this, like the lead in this, and the person who this actually happened to. It was, I don't know. I'm very impressed. I'm just very impressed. Is the short version. And for those who don't know, this is basically the short log line is that it's a film about a struggling stand-up comedian who starts getting stalked by a patron to a bar that he moonlights at, or that his main money comes from. And it goes into some directions from there. I think by episode 4 is when things turn hard. Bob, I think you watch this as well. Am I describing this right on your end?
Yeah, I agree. I finished that up this week as well. And it starts off as like this very quirky, goofy, weird stalker thing, and then takes a really hard turn into like fucked up, sad, twisted town, and is not what I thought I was signing up for. So like, I guess be prepared for that if you haven't seen it yet. It's good, but it's like a huge bummer, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Ends on a hopeful note, I will say.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
Tread lightly.
That's it for me.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Juice.
No, that's it. Sorry.
Juice, what you been watching?
I fell back into another busy schedule this week, so I have not been watching much, but I have been watching. So there's this Japanese animated show that started in 96 that I've been watching. They're just like really short episodes. They're like it's like a kid show, but it's called Case Closed, or Detective Conan, I think is like how there was something about translating it to English or whatever, but it's so it started in 1996, and so I've just been going through season 1 so far, and they're really short. I mean, like total they're like 23 minutes, but then you have like an opening song, which I always skip, that's like 2 minutes, and like closing credits and shit. So really it's like 19 minutes of content. And it's really interesting because it's this kind of blend of it's definitely inspired by like Sherlock Holmes, but it's got a little bit of like James Bond there, but also has these elements of like Scooby-Doo, because it's about this guy who solves these mysteries, but he gets like poisoned and becomes like, he looks like a kid, but he's actually like 18 years old, but he looks like an elementary school student. So it's like really cutesy and definitely geared towards kids. He gets some crazy gadgets sometimes and stuff like that, but it's like Scooby-Doo sometimes, but with a lot of gore. They decapitate people. I was watching one last night where this bride
gets dream.
This bride gets
anime
poisoned.
That's Scooby-Doo and gory.
Yeah, this bride gets poisoned at her wedding. She's wearing a wedding dress, and they like burst into the room, and she's passed out on the floor, and there's like blood coming out of her mouth and shit. Like, it's pretty like they have some. And there's another one that actually has to be inspired by Scooby-Doo because it was at like an art museum, and there's this it felt there's this suit of armor and stuff like that, but that one's got a lot of gore in it too. People are murdered, people commit suicide and stuff like, but there's always some death or somebody missing or something, and he's always like solving the crime each time or whatever. So
suicide is badass.
Damn. It's very interesting to see the kind of differences between this kind of like Japanese kids show 96 and because it's also played very cutesy. There's also moments too, we've talked about this a little bit before with other Japanese properties, where there's a lot of teenage girl underwear, like girls get their skirts blown up or like they're on some roller coaster ride or something. I'm just like, Japan's just got a just different vibe, man.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Where can I watch this show so that I can protest it?
Where's that link so I can avoid it? No,
wow.
It's just, but overall though, it's actually pretty funny and I've been enjoying just going through it. There's like, it's another one of those shows that's got like 25 seasons, so I definitely can't watch all of it, but I'll see how far I go with it.
Christ.
But yeah, that's all I've been watching. Honestly, case closed. Bob, what you been watching?
Just a few things. After we recorded last week, we were talking about Whip It, that movie with Elliot Page. And so I threw that on, watched that again, and it holds up. It's just a good fucking movie. It's got good vibes. It's sort of like wholesome. It's funny. It's got some drama. It's just worth watching. It's great. It's
good.
Check it out if you haven't. I think you'll have a good time with it. I also watched on my Marvel journey Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh yeah,
and that's pretty good. Mostly enjoyable.
I like that one.
Yeah. It was okay.
Really?
That's all I have to say.
I like Michael Keaton in that one. Yeah.
To be honest with you, I forgot he was in it at all.
I always get them confused. I thought you were talking about the one with Mysterio in it, which I agree with. It's kind of mid. I kind of like Homecoming.
I like Homecoming.
Pretty good,
though. It was good. Yeah, it was good. I didn't
got
love it,
old Gambino in it too.
Yeah, I forgot he was in it. It's got Hannibal Buress in it. He plays like the gym teacher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's got some
and Martin Starr.
Martin Starr is also like the principal or I don't know, something like that.
No, he's like the debate club. Teachers. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's also got that kid Tom something in it. Yeah, he does a pretty good job.
Yeah. There's some like little cameos that are pretty funny. Tom, I don't know.
Something. I don't know. He plays.
We all know what you're talking about.
Tom Green.
Tom
Green.
That's the kid I'm talking about.
Proud.
Tom Green, the child.
Talking about
make your daddy proud. Son.
The young man, Tom Green.
He's the sausage song guy in the movie.
Yeah. I believe he walks backwards, if I'm not mistaken.
He is the backwards man. Right? He's the villain.
Your age is showing, Bob.
The backwards man.
Just Bob.
Yeah. So yeah, still going down the Marvel journey there. Baby Reindeer, we already touched on that. And lastly, Disturbia. We threw on Disturbia.
With fucking
Shia LaBeouf. Yeah.
Rear Window, but for millennials.
Yes, precisely. And
I haven't seen that in a while.
I like it.
You guys loved that growing up, and I liked it fine, but I gotta watch it again to know if it holds up. Do you think it holds up?
I kind of want to revisit it now.
The neighbor that does like very questionable things. If you haven't seen Disturbia, Shia LaBeouf is under house arrest for the summer for assaulting his teacher, and he sees his new neighbor do some weird shit. The new neighbor that does weird shit, though, is the officer. I'm blanking on his name now, but he plays a police officer in Treme, and I'd forgotten that was
David
the same
Morse.
Actor. He
David
does a
Morse
great
is the
job.
actor. He's in a lot of shit. He's in The Green Mile. That's what I know him best from.
Oh, okay, nice. He does a great job.
Yeah.
That movie is just like it's got really just summer vibes. I mean, it takes place during the summer or whatever, but it was just kind of a nice, it feels like a good thunderstorm, evening time watch. I don't know. I like it. It holds up pretty well. Check it out. And that's pretty much all I've been watching though.
All right, Justin, you got a new summer watch on your hands here.
Yeah, Bob. So okay, so when's the best time to watch that? You think? Like, what? Put me in a month to week range here.
I'm gonna say July 12th to 13th.
Okay. Right to start off spooky season.
Well, that's spooky season. Yeah, I would say the first
every day kicks off spooky season.
I would say between June 1st to July 2nd.
Okay, so before spooky season.
Because July 3rd is Return of the Living Dead, July 4th is Jaws, so you can't do it those days.
Sure, no, you can't do it those days.
So somewhere in there would be fine.
All right, gotcha. Thanks. So that's our new calendar segment.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We do have one voicemail, so let's go ahead and get into our Hotline Screams.
Hotline Scream.
If you are listening and would like to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We got one voicemail. We're hearing from Sean this week. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Hey guys, this is Sean in North Carolina calling in from your queer chillin' contingent. It's great hearing you guys here and on other podcasts. I really appreciate your reviews and your insights. I'm super happy you did the autopsy of Jane Doe. I've been a fan of Overdoll for a while, though Troll Hunter and Autopsy are probably his only two really successful films. Demeter and Series Stories were both just kind of okay. My one big complaint with the Autopsy of Jane Doe was that song that kept repeating just because it seems so cheesy. Anyway, regarding Beltane, the one Beltane celebration I attended was in the evening, and it did have multiple bonfires as well as a smaller fire that people would jump over either individually or as couples. There were a lot of flower and vine costumes and decorations. There was plenty of drinking, but fire and personal safety were also definite priorities, so there was a group of sober folks around who made sure that nothing bad happened to anyone. A lot of people there, I'm sure, celebrated from a sincere place of faith, but I can definitely confirm for Justin that a lot of people used it as a pretext just to hook up and have full-on orgies. Regarding the Green Man, I don't remember how much this came up in your review of the movie Men, but he's a symbol of rebirth that we literally saw at the very end of that film. I really like Alex Garland. But that movie felt like it had two main elements, like commentary on toxic masculinity and the folklore aspects, and they didn't quite come together in a satisfying way. I'm hesitant to see Civil War. We'll see how that goes. Last note, about a year ago, Randy made a joke about the comic strip Kathy based on the ack, ack, ack sound, probably from Mars Attacks. I found that hilarious, Randy. Great job. I didn't think anyone remembered that comic strip. Thank you all for the stuff that you do. Please keep it up, and I hope you guys have a great May Day. Take care.
See, I go for the 1% of people that will understand what the fuck I'm saying at any given time. Those are the people I serve.
Thanks, Sean. That was a great call. Very informative.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
And super complimentary, which is always well received.
But yeah, no, that was cool to hear. I had this image. I kind of started, if you see it behind the scenes, I kind of just started laughing halfway through because the way he was talking about people drinking, this image popped in my head of somebody wearing like this Vine costume and being like stupidly drunk and trying to jump over the fire and like stumbly like collapsing into the fire, and they're wearing a Vine costume and they're catching on fire.
Oh my God.
That could easily turn into the biggest shit show.
I so badly want there to be a horror movie around this exact premise. Oh my God.
But it sounded like really, really cool.
I want to go to one of these parties really badly, not to hook up and also not to worship.
For the orgies. I'm here for the orgy, says Randy.
Guys,
here for the gangbang?
I'm just here for the orgies. Also, I got my May bush done, so
it's got a bunch of flowers in it.
Got some flowers in my pubis.
It smells great.
Oh my
Put your face in
so
here.
floral.
Just check it out. Just
come on, give it a sniff.
Tell me you don't get some lavender, some.
I paid some big bucks for this thing. Come on, got to get some use out of it.
You got the old green dong paint for the vinage, you know.
I got
green dong paint.
I'm the green.
Specifically paint for your dong.
Look,
it's got
you
a
can't
flavor.
Just put any paint on your dong.
It's green apple.
It's a sensitive area. You put temper paint on there, you're just gonna burn it right off.
You think Amazon sells dong paint?
I hope so.
I don't know, man. We gotta think so.
We gotta corner the market. Straight Shillings dong paint.
Green apple dong
patented
paint.
dong paint. Soft for this
for your Beltane party.
Dong.
I need the extra large tube for my extra large dong. Call me
Magnum dong.
Mantis toboggan.
I need the Magnum size tube of dong paint.
Oh, this regular size is too small.
I'd have to buy 6 or 7 tubes, and that just won't do.
I really want to go to one of these fucking parties. It sounds like a blast.
Orgy.
Yes, mostly.
My boy Orgy Randy. We know.
Mm-hmm. That's what we call
add it to the list. Whatever you say.
Thanks for calling, Sean. Yeah, it was great voicemail. Thanks. Thanks. I love hearing from folks that we never heard from before. It's always nice.
Yeah.
Don't give up on Garland. Civil War, worth a watch.
Yeah, it comes back.
Don't give up. Yeah.
Don't give up. If you are listening,
I think the people turned on him so hard. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's just how it goes, man. Call in at 904-638-3231 if you want to be featured on next week's show. Gentlemen, you got any prompts you want to throw out for next week?
The stunned silence says it all. We've never been asked this before. What is this? I believe our next episode will be something involving the elderly.
It's true. Next week we're talking about another Patreon pick. This is technically Hydraberg's pick, and he wanted to gift it to a listener of the show who calls in somewhat regularly and has become kind of a listener favorite. Hugh, shouts outs to your boy Hugh Janus. Is going to be picking next week's flick. The movie is Old People from 2022, and that is currently on Netflix, so it's pretty easy to come by. Check that out.
Janus, call in. You got to call in and give your review.
Yeah, or send an email, but we would love for you to call in.
We would love for you to just call in.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, so I don't know.
No pressure.
I don't know anything about the movie Old People. I'm dodging the trailer as well. I've not even seen Old, which I constantly confuse this movie.
Glad we're not covering Old
again.
Yeah, I know you.
Well, we did a mini cast. Yeah.
Was it a mini cast?
I did not.
It was me and you, Bob. Yeah, we went to go see it at Sunray.
I have not seen that either, but I know it from you guys talking shit about it. So anyway, I don't know. What's your favorite movie featuring scary old people? Because The Visit comes to mind for me. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
I immediately thought of Lake Placid.
Hereditary. Lake Placid.
Oh,
Betty White is terrifying in that movie.
I'm kind of.
I don't know. There's got to be a few out there besides
Texas
the ones we
Chainsaw
just
Massacre. The grandpa dude. Ugh.
Isn't
the remake
like
where it's a little lady with a Confederate flag.
Isn't there a spooky scene from one of the It movies where he's like a naked old lady?
Yeah,
or something? That was a fucked up scene for the time.
Yeah, there's a couple, and then there's of course The Shining. There's a 237 Ghosts.
That's a good one. Yeah,
That is a good
Oh, that's a
There's
good.
some good ones out
switcheroo.
there.
Yeah, what's the scariest old person in a horror movie? Yeah,
I'd love to know.
good call, Randy.
Elderly horror.
Thank you.
Call in 904-638-3231. Check out Old People from 2022 on Netflix. Get ready for next week's show. Until then, you can find us on all the social medias. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast and you will find us. If you want to join in our daily Slack channel conversations, hit us up on one of those social media outlets and say you'd like the link. I'll send it over so you can join. And that's going to do it for us. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
Who honors the pinky swear of a degenerate?